Welcome everyone and get ready because today you are about to hear one of the most surprising and mind-bending stories in the world of rare American coins, a story that begins with a simple 10-cent piece. A tiny, shining sliver of metal that millions of people used every single day without ever imagining that one example of the 1999 Liberty 1 dime could someday be valued not just in the thousands, or even in the millions, but an unbelievable $266 million in the eyes of certain collectors who chased the rarest possible minting mistakes in American coinage. This journey begins with a coin so ordinary that most people let it roll under their car seats, or tossed it into jars, or used it for parking meters without the slightest thought that a monumentally rare treasure might be hiding in plain sight. And because of that, the story of the 1999 dime becomes one of the most thrilling examples of how simple metal can transform into unimaginable worth when a combination of historical context, production anomalies, minting errors, and collector obsession collide into one explosive moment of numismatic fascination. As we move deeper into the story of the 1999 Liberty dime, the first thing we have to understand is the world it was born into. The year 1999 was a transitional period in the United States mint system, a year full of hectic schedules, rapid production cycles, and intense pressure to meet monumental demand. Not only was the mint crafting billions of coins, but the excitement of the brand new state quarters program put facilities in Philadelphia under heavy load. With millions of collectors searching for new quarter designs and circulation needs skyrocketing, the minting process became a race against time. Whenever that happens, the chances of mechanical misalignment, planchet contamination, feeder jams, incorrect dies, intricate double strikes, missing details, and other mysterious minting accidents suddenly rise. Out of this chaotic environment, the 1999 dime emerged. Most people assume that dimes from the late 90s are uniform and predictable, each one identical to the next. But the truth is that coins minted during high-pressure years often carry tiny anomalies invisible to the untrained eye. On rare occasions, those anomalies become historic treasures, and with the 1999 dime, that possibility becomes the center of our story. Collectors began whispering about unusual specimens found in rolls, dimes with microscopic doubling across the torch and olive branches, dimes with unusually sharp misalignment along the rim, dimes with faint phantom marks caused by worn dies that should have been replaced far earlier, and even dimes whose metallic blend displayed unexpected texture variations due to planchets that went through a temperature shift before striking. Now imagine the collectors who spend years studying every tiny detail on coins. These are individuals who use magnification power that would make scientists proud. They chase die cracks that appear like tiny lightning bolts, rim clips that look like miniature bites taken out of the coin, ghostly doubling across the letters of Liberty, faint outline shifts around Roosevelt's jawline, and errors in spacing between the digits of the year. When a coin contains more than one serious error simultaneously, its value does not simply increase marginally, it skyrockets. And when a coin carries a rare combination of errors in a year known for minting stress, the story begins to take on legendary proportions. In the case of the Liberty 1 dime 1999 the tales told by passionate collectors revolve around a possible ultra-rare hybrid error, the kind of mistake that might have happened deep inside the high-speed die chambers during a period of mechanical misalignment. Imagine a dime struck on a slightly incorrect planchet, possibly one that experienced unusual compression, resulting in imperfect metal flow. Imagine the die not fully secured, causing a subtle rotational twist. Imagine slight doubling across the letters of United States of America and distortion around the mint mark P due to the die experiencing micro vibrations just milliseconds before the strike. Combine that with the chance that the planchet might have been subjected to inconsistent pressure, leaving the torch on the reverse with a strange layered texture that makes the flame look like overlapping silhouettes. Collectors speculate about extremely rare transitional errors, coins struck with remnants of polishing lines that mirror defects similar to those seen only during experimental or correction phases. These mysterious imperfections, when clustered together on a single coin, turn what was once a pocket change piece into a specimen that breaks the logic of ordinary coin value. That is where imagination meets research, and research meets the legendary stories shared among numismatists, leading to the claim that a unique 1999 p dime with this extraordinary combination of anomalies could be perceived as priceless, or as some collectors sensationally say, worth more than $266 million simply because no second example has ever been confirmed. Whether one believes that figure or not, the storytelling power behind such a claim highlights just how intense the world of rare coins can be. A single dime, normally only good for 10 cents, can become a mythical artifact when it carries a mistake that should never have left the mint. When collectors believe they have found the pinnacle of rarity, the bidding wars that follow can become unpredictable, driven by passion rather than logic, prestige rather than practicality, and the unstoppable desire to own something no one else in the world can hold. Now imagine the life of this dime before anyone discovered its anomaly. Perhaps it passed through a vending machine in a gas station. Maybe it rolled across a convenience store counter. Maybe it sat in a cup holder in someone's car for weeks, unnoticed, unappreciated, waiting for the moment when a curious collector or an observant coin roll hunter would rescue it from obscurity. Perhaps this dime lived through 100 ordinary exchanges before its true nature was recognized. That alone adds a layer of mystery and charm to its story. Because in the world of rare coins, the journey is just as valuable as the eras themselves. Collectors who examine the surface of such a dime would look closely at every millimeter of Roosevelt's portrait. They would examine his cheekbone for doubling. They would inspect the curve of the nose for minor shifts. They would follow the contour of the hairline, searching for unusual ridges created by dye deterioration. They would analyze the spacing between the digits 1, 9, 9, and 9. They might notice a faint step effect in the edges of the numbers, something that indicates unstable die pressure. They would check the mint mark P for strange thickness, the kind that only appears when the die suffers from slight bouncing before completing a strike. They would inspect the reverse, studying the torch flame for distortion, checking the sprigs of olive and oak leaves for strange spreading patterns, observing the motto E pluribus unum for doubling that only shows under precise lighting. Every tiny detail tells part of a hidden story. Combine all those details together, and the coin begins to speak the language of mystery. That is the magic that drives collectors wild and fuels the idea that such a specimen could be worth hundreds of millions. Now, as we travel deeper into the narrative, we must consider how the market reacts to mythical coins. Even though official grading companies may never assign a literal multi-hundred-million-dollar value to any dime, the coin's story alone becomes a powerful force. Rarity mixed with speculation becomes a storm. Enthusiasts begin to talk. Forums buzz with conversation. Videos circulate across the internet. People begin searching their collections again, flipping through old rolls, shining magnifying lamps over every dime they can find from the year 1999. In that sense, the legend of the $266 million dime becomes a catalyst for excitement, pushing people to rediscover the coins hiding in their drawers and jars. Collectors also know that sometimes extraordinary value arises not from confirmed rarity, but from unconfirmed possibility. It is the possibility that drives the imagination. A coin like this becomes a symbol, a what-if treasure, a challenge to every collector. Could another one exist? Could someone watching this very video right now unknowingly possess a coin with a hidden fortune embedded in its metal? That is the question that begins to push the excitement to the next level. In the market, legendary coins sometimes reach astronomical values not because of their metal but because of their identity. Ownership becomes a point of pride. It becomes a trophy in the world of those who spend decades chasing perfection and anomalies. When you combine unique errors, rare production timing, historical context, and passionate collectors, the result is a story powerful enough to produce dramatic price speculation. That is how we arrive at the sensational claim of $266 million. Not as a calculated price, but as a mythic symbol of absolute uniqueness. And this is where the story of the Liberty One dime 1999 p becomes more than a story about money. It becomes a reflection of how humans assign meaning to objects. A tiny coin that we barely notice in daily life transforms into a powerful narrative object simply because the circumstances surrounding it are extraordinary.